Hello. Today topic of discussion is lipid metabolism. First of all, the source of lipid, where you get lipid. The main form of lipid found in the food is triglyceride and cholesterol ester. First of all, the food source. The food source of lipid, one is animal source, other is plant source. The main source of lipid is animal source, and it is found from ghee, butter, milk, cheese, egg, meat, fish. And then the plant source is found from groundnut, mustard seeds, and coconut. These are the food source of lipid. Next, our body also can generate lipid, can synthesize lipid that occurs within the liver mainly. Then, what is the fate of lipid? If you eat the fat lipid from the through the food, that is the digestion and the absorption of the lipid. At the mouth, where the salivary lipase is present, this to some extent, especially the milk fat, hydrolyzes the TG into fatty acid and glycerol to some extent. Then when the lipid enters into the stomach, gastric lipase also to some extent hydrolyzes the TG. But the main function of stomach is to delay the fat, to release the fat into the intestine. That is, stomach release the fat slowly into the intestine. Then in the intestine, this is the main site of digestion of the lipid. But there is a two problem of the lipid. One is insolubility of the lipid in water, and second is lipolytic enzymes, that is the lipase, are water soluble. That means lipid is water insoluble, and the enzyme that breaks the lipid, it is water soluble. So how the body compensate this problem? How the body get out the problem? Bile salt that is released from the liver emulsified the large lipid globules into the small particles, so that surface area of the lipid increases. Then aqueous solubility is increased by the formation of micelle, so that the pancreatic lipase can act on it effectively. That means bile salt emulsifies the lipid into small molecules, so that the surface area is increased, so that the lipolytic enzymes can act very effectively. And second, the lipid gets solubilized into the water by the formation of micelle. So the lipolytic enzyme which is soluble in water can act on the lipid. Then lipolytic enzyme, that is the lipase, that means pancreatic lipase, first release the fatty acid from the C1, that is breaks the ester linkage attached to the C1. Then and to form beta mono, first it forms the diglyceride, then again the pancreatic lipase acts on the diglyceride and release the third fatty acid attached to the C3 and forms the beta monoglyceride. Why the pancreatic lipase release the C3, not the C2? Pancreatic lipase cannot release fatty acid that is attached to the C2. So in the body, in the intestinal wall, there is an isomerase enzyme is present that isomerize the beta monoglyceride to alpha monoglyceride. That means shift the fatty acid to the C1 from C2. Then again pancreatic lipase acts on this alpha monoglyceride to form glycerol, release the fatty acid and form the glycerol. In this way, there is a formation of glycerol and the fatty acids. In this way, digestion of fatty acid lipids occurs within the intestinal lumen. Then how the absorption takes place? In absorption, what happened? The fatty acid that are released by the action of lipase, first of all, gets activated to form acyl CoA by the enzyme thiokinase, and then this acyl CoA is attached with the monoglyceride, beta monoglyceride, to form TG. This is the monoglyceride pathway. Then this is the one pathway. Then another pathway, that is the phosphatidic acid pathway or glycerol 3-phosphate pathway. Alpha monoglyceride by the gets absorbed from the intestinal lumen to the intestinal epithelium. Then by the action of intestinal lipase, release the fatty acid to form glycerol. Then the glycerol kinase, action of glycerol kinase, glycerol is phosphorylated to glycerol 3-phosphate, and also from the glycolysis you get the glycerol 3-phosphate, and this glycerol 3-phosphate is acidified with the acyl CoA to form TG. That means in the intestinal lumen, TG is broken down into fatty acid and glycerol, and these two enters into intestinal epithelium and again re-acidified to form TG. Then this TG forms the chylomicron. That is the lipoprotein. That means this TG, that means lipid portion, gets attached with the protein. How it is get attached? In the intestinal epithelium, by the process of transcription and translation, there is a formation of ApoB48. Apo means protein, and according to the discovery, the protein is named as B, and for this protein is called ApoB48. This ApoB48, after translation, released into the ACR, where lipid gets attached. Then it transported to the Golgi apparatus of the intestinal epithelium, where the carbohydrate gets attached, and by the process of exocytosis, released into the intercellular space, that is between the two intestinal epithelial cells, and drained into the lymph, and by the lymph enters into the thoracic duct and ultimately drained into the subclavian vein, that is the blood. That means chylomicron, in this way chylomicron is formed within the intestinal epithelium and transported to the blood circulation. Then how this lipoprotein that is formed within the intestine, that contains exogenous TG, how it is transported to different tissues, that is explained by exogenous pathway. This is explained by the exogenous pathway. In exogenous pathway, it starts from intestine, that is where the chylomicron is formed. Then in the intestine, the chylomicron that is formed is called nascent chylomicron. In nascent chylomicron, in the periphery, two amphipathic lipids are present that solubilize the chylomicron, that is the phospholipid and the free cholesterol, and as well as two protein, ApoB48 and ApoA, present in the periphery. And in the center, the hydrophobic molecule present within the center of the nascent chylomicron, that is the TG and cholesterol ester, to some extent cholesterol ester. Then from the HDL, nascent chylomicron acquire ApoC and ApoE and forms the mature chylomicron. In mature chylomicron, in the periphery, two lipids, amphipathic lipids are present, phospholipid and free cholesterol, and the protein, that is the ApoB48, ApoA, ApoC or ApoE are present, and in the center triglyceride and cholesterol ester are present. Then this major chylomicron, when enters into the blood vessels of adipose tissue and skeletal muscles, ApoC get attached with the LPL, that is lipoprotein lipase. Lipoprotein lipase are present in the endothelial lining of the adipose tissue and skeletal muscles. Endothelial lining of blood vessels present in the adipose tissue and skeletal muscles. ApoA get attached to the lipoprotein lipase. Recognize the lipoprotein lipase. And lipoprotein lipase breaks the triglyceride into fatty acid and glycerol, and these fatty acid and glycerol enters into the adipose tissue and skeletal muscles. Then after delivering the TG into the adipose tissue and skeletal muscles, what is the compound that is remaining? That is called chylomicron remnant. Before chylomicron remnant formation, ApoC and ApoE is donated to the HDL. That means in chylomicron remnant, in the periphery, phospholipid and free cholesterol are present, two proteins are present, ApoB48 and ApoE. ApoA or ApoC is donated to the HDL. Then chylomicron remnant is accepted to the liver by the chylomicron remnant receptor recognized by the ApoE present in the chylomicron remnant. So this is the exogenous pathway. In this way, chylomicron that is present within the intestine, formed within the intestine, that carries the exogenous triglyceride that is from the food, is transported to the skeletal muscle and adipose tissue. What is the function of this fatty acid and glycerol that is enters into the adipose tissue and skeletal muscles? In skeletal muscle, this fatty acid after oxidation gives the huge amount of energy that is useless for the muscle contraction. And in adipose tissue, this fatty acid and the glycerol re-esterified to form TG and stored there. So this exogenous pathway occurs 4 to 5 hours after taking food, and the ApoC and ApoE is called mobile apolipoprotein, as it is shifted between the HDL and chylomicron. Then transportation of endogenous lipid in the blood means triglyceride that is formed in the liver, how it is delivered to the adipose tissue and skeletal muscles. How? This is explained by the endogenous pathway. So in endogenous pathway, it starts from the liver, because liver synthesizes the TG, and this TG is incorporated into the VLDL, that is called nascent VLDL, that contains the periphery, phospholipid and free cholesterol, and three proteins, ApoB100, ApoE and ApoC. So what is the difference between ApoB100 and ApoB48? ApoB100 is composed of a single polypeptide of 4500 amino acid, which is the full length product of ApoB gene. ApoB48 results from post-translational modification of intestinal ApoB100 mRNA, in which a single base substitution produces a stop codon corresponding to residue 2153 of ApoB100. That means 48 means 48% of full length of ApoB100 mRNA is translated. Then so these are the component of nascent VLDL. Then after taking the ApoC and ApoE from HDL, it forms the mature VLDL. Then when it is enters into the endothelium, that means blood vessels of adipose tissue skeletal muscles, lipoprotein it recognize ApoA present into the ApoC present in the mature VLDL, recognize the lipoprotein lipase present in the endothelial lining of adipose tissue and skeletal muscles and get attached with it, and lipoprotein lipase breaks the TG that is present within the VLDL core and into fatty acid and glycerol, and these fatty acid and glycerol enters into the adipose tissue and skeletal muscles. And after donating this fatty acid and glycerol, that means TG, and also the ApoC and E to the HDL, the compound that it is remaining, that is called VLDL named, that is called IDL. What is the component of IDL? In the periphery, phospholipid and free cholesterol, as well as ApoB48 and ApoE, and in within the center to some extent TG, and maximum portion is cholesterol ester. Then the TG is donated to the TG that is present within the IDL is donated to the HDL, and from the HDL cholesterol esters enters into the IDL, and also the ApoE is donated to the HDL from IDL, and the compound that is formed ultimately it is exchange, that is called LDL, that is a low density lipoprotein. So in the LDL major protein, that is the ApoB100, and also the phospholipid and free cholesterol present in the periphery, and in the center the major lipid is cholesterol ester. Then the LDL, there is two fat. 70% of LDL enters into the liver, that is recognized by the LDL receptor present in the liver, and 30% enters into the extrahepatic tissue through the LDL receptor as well as scavenger receptor of macrophage. So this is the endogenous pathway. So after 12-hour fasting, that is the prerequisite of lipid profile estimation, that is the 12-hour fasting, the maximum lipoprotein is LDL, then HDL, then VLDL. Then how the HDL that involves in exchange with the chylomicron as well as VLDL, how the HDL is formed how the HDL is metabolized. So HDL is formed from liver as a discoid HDL. It is discoid in shape and it contains ApoC, ApoE, ApoA, phospholipid, free cholesterol, and one enzyme that is called LCAT, that is lecithin cholesterol acyltransferase. Then after accepting the cholesterol from the tissue through the receptor ABCA1 present in the tissue, it forms the HDL 3. HDL 3. So how the cholesterol is enters into the center of the HDL 3, HDL. Free cholesterol is delivered from the tissue, peripheral tissue, to the HDL, and in the HDL, LCAT that is present, it esterified this cholesterol to cholesterol ester, so that the free cholesterol that is delivered from the tissue, that is amphipathic lipid, forms the cholesterol ester, and which is hydrophobic in nature and goes into the center of the HDL3. Then again cholesterol is taken from the peripheral tissue to the HDL3 to form HDL2. Then this HDL2 enters into the liver through the SRB1 receptor, and side by side it enters into the steroidogenic tissues, for example adrenal gland, through the SRB1 receptor. So these are the reverse cholesterol pathway or HDL metabolism. So why the LDL is called bad cholesterol? What is the function of LDL? LDL it transfer in this pathway. We see that the function of chylomicron is transfer the TG from intestine to the adipose tissue skeletal muscle. VLDL is transfer the TG from the liver to the adipose tissue skeletal muscle. What is the function of LDL? It transfer the cholesterol ester from the liver to the peripheral tissue. And what is the function of HDL? It transfer the cholesterol ester from liver peripheral tissue to the liver. That means the function of HDL is it transfer the cholesterol ester from peripheral tissue to the liver, and the function of LDL is it transfer the cholesterol from liver to the peripheral tissue. As the function of LDL is transportation of cholesterol ester from the liver to the peripheral tissue, when the cholesterol is increased in the blood, what happens? This cholesterol gets deposited in the arterial wall and forms the atherosclerosis, and this causes narrowing of the arterial wall, and there is a less transport of blood that transport the oxygen and nutrition, and there is a infarction of the particular tissue. For example, if heart, it is called myocardial infarction. If it is the brain, it is called cerebrovascular accident that takes place. So the LDL is called bad cholesterol, as it transports the cholesterol from the liver to the peripheral tissue. And in reverse way, as the HDL transport the cholesterol ester from the peripheral tissue to the liver, it scavenges the cholesterol, excess cholesterol from the peripheral tissue to the liver, so it is called good cholesterol. It prevents the formation of atherosclerosis, that means prevents the myocardial infarction as well as cerebrovascular accident. Then the composition of different type of lipoprotein. First of all, the lipid content. In the chylomicron, it is exogenous TG. In the VLDL, it is the endogenous TG. In the LDL, is the cholesterol ester, and in the HDL is cholesterol ester and phospholipid. Then the protein content. In the chylomicron, it is ApoB48, ApoC, E, and A. In VLDL, it is ApoB100. In LDL, ApoB100 and E, and HDL, ApoA, C, and E. Then the density. Density in chylomicron is less than 1.006. In VLDL, again similar, less than 1.006. In LDL, 1.006 to 1.063. In HDL is 1.063 to 1.210. Then the electrophoretic pattern. Chylomicron forms the band at the point of application. VLDL forms the pre-beta position. In the LDL, between the pre-beta and beta position, HDL forms the alpha position. Function. Chylomicron, it transports the dietary TG to adipose tissue and skeletal muscles. In VLDL, it transports the endogenous TG to adipose tissue and skeletal muscles. In LDL, it transports the cholesterol from liver to extrahepatic tissue, and HDL transports the cholesterol from the extrahepatic tissue to the liver. Then, what are the process of separation of lipoproteins? One is ultracentrifugation from low to high. First chylomicron, then chylomicron remnant, then VLDL, IDL, LDL, HDL. HDL 1, 2, 3 and pre-beta HDL. Then albumin, free fatty acid complex. Then the electrophoresis. First, the alpha position, HDL forms the alpha band, VLDL from pre-beta band, LDL from the beta band, or chylomicron forms the band at the point of application. And another process is immunoelectrophoresis. Then the lipoprotein A. Lipoprotein A is the abnormal lipoprotein. The composition is mainly the cholesterol ester, then the phospholipid. Its composition is like LDL, but the electrophoretic mobility like VLDL, that is the faster than LDL, as it contains increased amount of sialic acid. Protein content ApoA, ApoB100, but the peculiarity is that both are get attached each other by the disulfide bond. Then the lipid protein ratio is 75:25, that is 3:1. Diameter is 25 to 30 nanometer. Density is 1.040 to 1.130. Electrophoretic mobility is pre-beta, so it is its electrophoretic mobility is like of VLDL, so it is called sinking pre-beta lipoprotein. Clinical importance. What is the importance? It has the structural similarity with the plasminogen, so it inhibits the plasminogen, so it prevents fibrinolysis. Second, increase homocysteine level in the blood promotes the fibrin binding of lipoprotein A, thus further preventing the formation of plasmin and subsequent impaired thrombolysis. So, in the individual with lipoprotein level more than 30 mg per deciliter has got the greater chance of myocardial infarction. Then lipoprotein A level is increased in end-stage renal disease and postmenopausal women. Most lipid-lowering drugs except nicotinic acid do not affect the plasma lipoprotein A concentration. And last, the Indian have the higher level of lipoprotein A than European. And that's all for today. Thank you.